Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater. And so those of you who know me, or you've at least followed this channel for quite some time, you know that I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know that good and bad, I'm there opening night to watch a movie. It's been that way for 11 years. I don't see that changing. Even the Disney Plus shows I'm going to check out, the Marvel Netflix shows I've all seen. I haven't quite gotten into Runaways because I didn't really like it. I watched about half of the first season. I hear it's gotten a lot better. And Cloak and Dagger is just something that hasn't really popped up on my radar just yet. But I like a lot of the other stuff. That being said, the Disney Plus series that are coming look interesting. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to take place in a world where the government doesn't want Falcon to be the new Captain America while still battling an actual masked Baron Zemo. WandaVision is going to tie in directly with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Hawkeye is going to introduce Kate Bishop, giving us that particular character who clearly is going to come into play down the road in future phases. And then there's the other show, Loki. Now, when I first heard about Loki being announced, I was excited, I guess you could say, cautiously optimistic given the fact that he had died in Infinity War. And then I thought, you know what? They're going to go back. They're going to do time travel. I predicted time travel all the way back after I saw Infinity War. They're going to reverse the events of everything, and Loki is going to be alive. The Loki that we know is going to be alive. Well, no, the Loki that we know is in fact dead. That Loki is permanently dead. But a Loki does exist, and he exists in an alternate timeline with the Tesseract, and that's where the show is going to pick up. Part of me thinks that's the stupidest idea on the goddamn planet, and I say that because it's the stupidest idea on the damn planet. It's so dumb. Because, for one, doing time travel and having alternate universes is one thing. The way that they did it with the quantum realm in Endgame allowed them to go back and kind of set all the universes correctly, right? That Captain America went back to all these different locations and were able to then replace the stones and make everything fine. Okay, cool. That's what he did. Then he got his dance with Peggy, according to the Russos. Then he went on to go make a baby. And that's where we find him later on in the movie after having led a good life of peace that we know of. But there's then all the multiverses, or not even the multiverse, the alternate timelines. And I say this as a fan of time travel and stories and a fan of all of these sort of things. Going with the route they're going with Loki doesn't interest me in the slightest. Because it's not the Loki that's gone through character arcs. It's not the Loki that we've watched since 2011's Thor. This is the Loki from 2012's Avengers. This is the Loki who lost, the Loki who got away by the skin of his teeth, the Loki who didn't have a revelation, didn't join the Revengers, didn't give his life to protect his brother. This is a different Loki. And I know people are going to argue, but who cares? It's Loki. We all love Loki. He's a great character. And he was a great villain. That's true. But this particular series just seems so out of place for the rest of it. I cannot help but ask myself, what the hell do they intend on doing with it? One of the reasons why the multiverse theory works in regards to the CW show is that they treat it like it's real, they don't really question it too much, and they just keep moving forward, which is what they should do. In regards to the multiverse in the MCU, bringing in the X-Men or Fantastic Four or Deadpool or whatever else they want to use, it makes sense in regards to keeping it very surface level. But when you start adding in multiverses and alternate timelines and how the alternate timeline of Loki will have no impact on the timeline at the end of Endgame or where the MCU is going, because the MCU in and of itself is a straight line. That is the linear path. That is the timeline that we're on, and things are going to be coming and going from that. I get it. But when it's, here's the timeline that we're on, here's this alternate 1985 timeline, essentially, that we're then going to go spend time in, it's a waste of time if it doesn't somehow connect back to the original. Considering the fact that going back to that timeline is going to be almost impossible to do. I mean, and if you think about it, even with the logic of the quantum realm and going back and returning everything to when they did it, that would also be different. Because keep in mind that they altered the timeline. They changed the timeline. So from that moment, there was all those splinters. it doesn't make a lot of sense for the way, I don't know. The logic is flawed. The logic is flawed. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. In context of the movie, it made sense. In the context of the movie, it made a lot of sense. But in the context of continuing it for a television show, it's kind of dumb. The concept of Loki becoming like the new Quantum Leap is an interesting idea. I'll admit that. But I cannot find myself just getting excited for the show. Ooh, Tom Hiddleston's going to play the mischievous Loki from 2012. Though the one that didn't have any character arc outside of being beat by the Avengers. That's it. Freya's still alive. He didn't mourn his mother's death. He didn't sacrifice himself for his brother, only to fake it out, go back and take over Asgard. He didn't go through any of the changes we saw with Loki. And they're giving us this character that was, I don't want to say a one-dimensional villain, because he was definitely well-liked. He was charismatic. But he's a villain that not a lot of people, that people wanted to see become an anti-hero. And they're probably going to do that here. But my question then becomes, will Loki have earned it? Now, I don't want to sit there and criticize this to say I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to hope that I'm wrong, because that's not true. I do hope that I'm wrong and that it's good. And I do intend on watching it when it comes out, I believe, next year. Because I know they're getting ready to film it right now. And I know Tom Hiddleston probably wouldn't be on board unless it was something that was good for the character. So there is that. But the way they've described it, and the way that they've set it up, especially coming off of Endgame, it just feels cheap. Similar to the Black Widow movie coming out a year after Endgame. It feels cheap. We already know the end of her story. Giving us this just feels like opening up old wounds. Loki died, protecting his brother. Again, going back and seeing not that version of him, but another version that hasn't grown feels like opening up old wounds and is just retreading history for the sake of just filling up a time slot on the streaming service. And it's entirely possible that's what it was. It's entirely possible that Bob Iger went to Feige and said, all right, we're doing Disney Plus. We need to make this a reality. We need to make a bunch of shows. What can you pitch me that's going to come during the course of the next phase that we can use to sell memberships to Disney Plus? And then Feige goes, well, everyone likes Loki. Why don't we do a Loki show? But Loki's dead. Is he? See, it comes across as just weird, and it comes across as not good, and it comes across in a way that, quite frankly, I think is beneath the writing abilities of the people involved in the MCU. Not to say all of it's been fantastic writing, but this comes across as just a one-off concept that is going to be, I believe, the first show that we see. I hope I'm wrong. But I am curious to know what you think about this. How does this make you feel? Do you feel this is going to be a good idea? Do you feel that collectively as fans of the MCU, you're looking forward to seeing Loki again? Or do you feel that it's perhaps a slap in the face to the character development that we spent, I don't know, 6 years? 7 years? Dealing with? Right? Watching unfold? Think about it, 2011 to 2018. I mean, I am curious to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys like the video, which I'm sure will be contentious. Please toss it a like. Let's try to get to, let's say, 200 likes. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.